Hari Om. Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurude Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Gurur Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Welcome. Today we have the 51st session of the series Gift Gita for Inner Freedom and Transformation. We will continue with the chapter 10th. Today, Vibhuti Yoga. Krishna narrates some of his magnificent glories, his diverse forms, his might, his divine powers, and different traits. We have Dr. Komal as the moderator for today. We welcome our speakers, Dr. Manjula, Dr. Ambika, Dr. Diksha, Dr. Netra, and Dr. Anupama. Over to you, Dr. Komal.
Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. We are seeing the 10th chapter, Vibhuti Yoga. This comes in the middle shatkam of the Gita. The first 6 chapters were about, the subject matter was Jiva Swarupa. That's about ourselves, individuals, which was quite easy to comprehend as a question because we are there and we questioned ourselves about our own nature. In the second Shatkam, which starts from 7th chapter, what we are seeing is nature of God, nature of the Creator. Okay, so Jagat Karanam Ishvara. So here we get into a kind of inconvenience when we hear for the first time, once again, which every time it appears as the first time when we think about God, because our impressions, our beliefs, and our understanding of God is through ages since our birth, since with how our mother taught us, how our society taught us, what was the rituals and religious festivities which was happening around. Everything molded a thought of what is God. Whenever we see a photo, whenever we see something revered, we fold our hands, prostrate. That's the culture what we have brought up with. But when we are doing a serious inquiry like what we are doing now for inner transformation, we have to be devoting sufficient time to consider what is this? What is this which created things around it? We should first question the need. What was the purpose of having that entity called God in the first place? In the initial period, Swami Paramarthananda says, our spiritual understanding goes in 3 phases. First, God as a creator of the world. When we see the world around us, when an astronaut in space see the beautiful blue earth far away, or when you are on a summit of a hill, seeing the beauty of earth around you, or when you're seeing an insect or a huge elephant, there will be times when you realize, when you think that this can't happen by chance. This can't happen by random assembly of molecules or atoms. There must be an intelligent creator. To go further out of that wonder into our day-to-day practice, day-to-day work, we label that intelligent creator as God and go ahead with our daily activities. That's the first step, to identify that entity as God who created the world. Then, with sufficient understanding, this is the time and this is the object the subject matter of 10th chapter, where we understand that that entity what we are thinking is nothing but the world around us in itself. That entity, what we call God, has insinuated into every aspect of living and non-living things around us, and it manifests as world. That's the second step, and this is the subject matter of 10th chapter. So when we think about a creator, who created us, we say it's our parents. Who created them? Their parents. Who created them? Their parents. It goes on and on infinitely with no end to it. Infinite regression. There should be some point where the first time when it happened, there must be something, there must not be something which is outside the purview of the creator. So if you question everything, so it's an assembly of molecules which creates a living being, then how did that get assembled? And what created those molecules or atoms? If it is some intelligent being from outer space, who is that who created that intelligent being in outer space? So we have to see the beauty of our scriptures here, that this gives logical answers to any kind of assumption or imagination you can think of about creation. In the end, whoever it may be, however intelligent it can be, eventually there should be something, a creator, when there is nothing beyond, nothing outside with which he can work to create something. Because in the beginning, to start with, we should assume there's nothing. Out of that, something came, and that thing, which was the only existent thing, created out of itself, because there's nothing else outside. Out of itself, it created something. So then, if everything around us is created by it's the primordial thing in itself, you call it in whatever name, then the everything around us must be having an element of the primordial stuff. That is divine. So that divinity is called as God. So that's the second step of understanding, where we come to logical conclusion that it's not just that there is an intelligent creator who created this beautiful universe around us. Beyond that, if you go further, there should be an element of that intelligent creator in everything we see around us. What's the nature of God? When we realize that, everything what we see around us has an element of that primordial stuff which we can call as divinity or God, we go to the next step, the second level of understanding. Then we come to the third level, as why we say that the divinity just appears in the world, it's not real. That's mind-blowing, and that will come much later. For now, we are in the second level. In the next slide, we see what will happen when we see the divinity in everything around us. We see God is the world, and world is within this God. Okay, both ways. We appreciate both. Like in the sea, we see the water in waves. That is Ishvara Mahima. Water, that droplets, that element water, we see in the waves, not awed by that movement of the waves. We can see, try to see that it's nothing but water. That is Ishvara Mahima, Vibhuti. Vibhuti Yoga is the name of this chapter. And then the second way to see is see all the waves in water. Water as an element, still thing, and all elements, all waves are dancing in that water. That is seeing Vishwarupa, Vishwarupa Darshana, that we'll see next. And what's the benefit of this? We see in the next slide. People who see this in the next slide, we see the people who see this divinity in everything around us are called Virat Bhaktas. For them, everything is a Leela, including themselves. It's one more thing we have to see here is this divinity, this God which appears as the world around us, is not just confined to the things which we perceive outside, but also it percolates and it's the cause, it's the creator of the thing which happens inside our minds. As you see in the next slide, if it is our senses, what you're seeing are the optic nerves, which a neurosurgeon sees when we open up the brain. Whole world, what we see is perceived through this optic nerves, what we are seeing. And the thoughts, the emotions, the feelings, everything what happens inside is also created out of that divinity. Mind is nothing but an instrument, amalgamation of all the five senses what we have, superimposed with the memories and thoughts what we have and our past experiences. That's the mind. And that is again a play, a creation of the divinity. And in the other extreme, we see the universe around us, the moon, the sun, the earth, the blue dot which can be seen from the space. Everything is created by that intelligent creator, if you can say. And he resides, an element of him resides inside each of this creation of his. Like we see in Upanishads too, where the example of spider is given, which weaves the web out of its own. Similarly, because there's nothing else available. What else is there? So initially when we say God is the creator of the universe, it's called Nimitta Karana Ishvara. He is the creator, intelligent cause, like a goldsmith who creates jewelry. The next stage, what we are in now, is called Parinami Upadana Karana Ishvara. That is when he is not just the maker of things, but he also resides inside his own creation. So that is the level where we are, where we call Parinami Upadana Karana Ishvara. Then the third stage, the big jump comes when we realize it is called Vivarta Upadana Karana Ishvara, where Lord appears as the universe, where the God, the divinity appears as the universe. It's an apparent illusion of reality what we have. It requires some more maturity and some more longer journey in this direction what we have taken before we reach there. For now, we restrict ourselves to the second level where we see everything around us as a manifestation of the divinity, both inside as well as outside. In today's verses, we see from verse 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, we see both Krishna says about our inner world, our emotions, thoughts, memories, and the opposites like happiness, joy, sorrow, desires, non desirability, everything as our inner creation, that internally as well as the external creation from manvantaras, from years, eons, what has been happened, the history of evolution, both ways, both internally and externally, is that manifestation of divinity. We are going to see that from verse number 4 today. So now over to Dr. Manjula for verse 10.4, that is fourth verse of 10th chapter. Thank you.
Hari Om, Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, verse number 10.4. Buddhir Gnanam Asammoha Kshama Satyam Damaha Shamaha Sukham Dukkham Bhavo Abhavo Bhayam Cha Abhayam Evacha. In verse number 4 and 5, Krishna talks about he is the ultimate Vivarta Karanam of the entire creation. There are many conditions in the mind which Krishna enumerates few of them in 4th and 5th shloka. He gives a list in this shloka about buddhi, gnanam, asamoha. These are all the internal conditions. This is a simple enumeration of various mental conditions as well as faculties. The next slide. We'll go to the word meaning of the verse. Buddhihi, intelligence, gnanam, knowledge, asamoha, non-delusion, kshama, patience, satyam, truthfulness, damaha, sense control, shamaha, mind control, dukkham, pain, bhavaha, birth, abhavaha, death, bhayam, fear, abhayam, fearlessness. Intelligence, knowledge, non-delusion, patience, truthfulness, sense control, mind control, pleasure, pain, birth, death, fear, fearlessness. All these are different dispositions of being born out of me alone. So we'll see each of these mental conditions in detail in the next slide. Buddhi has got two meanings. One is the direct meaning, another is the indirect implied meaning. The direct meaning is intellect, which is there in all the human beings universally. The second meaning is intelligence. It is the special capacity of the intellect to understand even the subtle things. Intellect is universally present and intelligence is not universally present. Sri Adi Shankaracharya says, Buddhihi is equal to Antahkaranasya avabodhana samarthyam, the subtle skill to understand or subtle intelligence to understand. Sukshmadi Artha, very, very subtle message or teaching of Shastras. We need intelligence to understand teaching of Shastras. Avabodhana means understanding. Samarthyam means faculty or skill. Intelligence in simple meaning, it is a grasping power. Sri Adi Shankaracharya explains that Tadvantam, that means whoever has got that intelligence, he is called Buddhiman, I think to separate from other people. So here we can say that there is intelligence, people with intelligence called Buddhiman, and also this is important to learn the Shastras. Next is Gnanam. Gnanam means Atmadi Padartham Avabodhaha, means understanding of Padartham. There are various ideas, concepts, things like Atma, Adi, like Atma, Anatma. So, however, Krishna here he refers to Atma because the context is Vedanta Shastram. Gnanam is knowing and Buddhi is the knowing capacity. The presence of capacity doesn't mean the presence of knowledge. However, capacity without knowledge is possible, but knowledge without capacity is not possible. Asammoha. Asammoha means Viveka Purvika Pravrutti, discriminative response. Pravrutti means response. It is a deliberate discriminative response, which means absence of impulsive reaction. With regard to Bodha Veshu, every situation has to be studied before responding. It means any provocative situations, we need to take time and respond to the situation. This is called studied response. Prati upapannesu, which regularly comes, and we need to understand every situation, assess and respond. This is the Vedant. This is for the Vedantic student. We need to be discriminate. We need to be able to discriminate the responses either for understanding the situation and respond. Another value Krishna here talks about is the kshama. It is mental equanimity or mental poise. In this context, there are a different situation comes in where individual gets into trouble and sometimes it is difficult to forgive the people. But Krishna points out even someone has troubled you, we need to forgive them. In forgiveness in other ways is about to for our own well-being. At the same time, here there is a differentiation about we need to take stand for ourselves also when there is a problem, but at the same time we need to be forgiving. For example, being assertive. Whenever there is a situation, we need to take stand for ourselves and need to be considerate of others' needs also. Satyam means sensory experiences. All the five sensory experience, whatever we see, hear, touch, everything, whatever that we hear, that we need not have to share with other people. But whenever we want to share these things, we should be careful about how we say, how we project these facts with the other people. We should not be misinterpreting the facts. So that is one of the important virtue. Next value we talk about is the damaha. Damaha is quietude of or restraint or moderation of external sense organs. This is what we call it as having the sensory control over the external sense organs, pleasures, whatever that we get from the outside world. Because this is very important to have self control, because this can lead to the addictions. Well, that's what we understand in the mental health problems. It can lead to the other addictions, and also to getting into the troubles, and also deviation from the spiritual path. So having sensory control is very important. So Damaha talks about having the control over the external sense organs. Then Shamaha. Shamaha is antakaranasya. It is the internal control of our thoughts. We know that some thoughts are deliberate, some thoughts are automatic in nature. So we need to know about, we need to be watchful and careful about what are the thoughts which are influencing me. So having control over these thoughts are very important. Other thing, next virtue Krishna talks about is the sukham. Sukham means happiness or joy. I think here Adi Shankaracharya talks about the prahlada. Prahlada means we need to be happy, at the same time we need to make others happy. Sukham doesn't mean that only individual being happy. Opposite of sukham is dukkham. Dukkham, like immediate the interpretation is santapaha, having sorrow, have facing any difficulties or any other challenges can lead to the dukkham. Sometimes we expect something, and if that is not going in our way, that can lead to dukkham or santapaha. These are the extreme emotions of individuals, sukham and dukkham. In the next slide. So abhavaha. Abhavaha is about disappearance. It's about, here Krishna talks about the srishti, and srishti appearance. Bhavaha is srishti, abhavaha is pralayam. It is at the subjective level. So here Krishna talks about the viparyaha nashaha. Another emotions are bhayam and abhayam. These are the other opposite emotions, fear and courage. Fear can be because of the known reasons or the unknown reasons. It can lead to a lot of anticipation, feeling anxious. And abhayam is having confidence to face those challenges, having the courage. Here in this verse, in this verse, we saw a lot of virtues, we saw the values, and we saw some of the emotions. As a mental health professional, we come across these mental conditions in our day-to-day practice. We talk about intelligence quotient, what Krishna was talking about, the intellect. Intelligence quotient has the comprehension, reasoning, working memory. There are other components which are very important in functioning in our day-to-day life. Again comes on the emotional intelligence. Emotional quotient talks about having regulation of our emotion. It could be happiness, sorrow, anger, or sensory pleasures. Having control over these emotions called emotional quotient. And comes the social quotient, understanding about the social situation. So I think having the internal control, having the sensory pleasure, control about the sensory pleasures, are which are very important for having the mental balance, which is Krishna enumerated in which Krishna elaborated in this verse. Thank you. Hari Om.
Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namah. Ahimsa samata tushtihi tapodanam yasho yashaha bhavanti bhava bhutanam mat eva prithak vidha. Next slide. So non-injury, equanimity, contentment, assurity, generosity, fame, ill fame, all these are different kind of qualities of being that arise from me alone. Next slide. Sri Krishna continues to describe the Ishvara Swarupa or nature of God. The God alone has manifested himself in the form of universe. Bhagwan Sri Krishna continues to describe the subtle nature in this verse. Ahimsa, non-violence. Non-violence is often understood as refraining from physical hurting a living being, but in actual sense, non-violence should be in thought, word, and deeds. Samta. It is the equanimity in good and bad situation. Chapter 2 of Gita describes elaborately the quality of sthita prajna. If the external factors such as praise, heat, cold disturbs our mind, it means that one is attached to these factors. Maintaining equanimity is a sign of detachment and dispassion. And how can we do it? Transcending strong likes and dislikes with respect to people, food, and situation. Tushtihi, that is contentment, referred to as prasad buddhi. What do we mean by prasad buddhi? Ability to accept everything in life, good or bad, from the God as a gift. If we are constantly unhappy with what life has given to us, then we will fail to recognize our true nature and will remain attached to the finite, limited ego. Tapaha, voluntary austerity for spiritual benefit. Danaha, giving charity to one who is worthy to overcome our habit of attachment towards it. Yashaha, that is the fame that comes with the pursuit of dharma. Ayashaha, that is loss of fame due to adharmic activities. Next slide. So Sri Krishna asserts that all these qualities are generated in us by him. If these qualities are generated by God, then all the humans are going to have the same qualities? No. Because of our karma, action, and prarabdha decides which quality will arise within us. Sri Krishna gave us the clarity that he is the cause of everything. So it is up to us how do we use this power of sources. As we can understand from the example, the same electricity goes through the following devices shown in the slide, but it manifests in the different form, in heat, sound, light, and in the destructive way also. Similarly, we have to have the ability to use the power given to us. And how can we use it? To be in the constant sangati. What will be the benefit of it? We will be constantly surrounded ourselves with the good company. As a result, we will imbibe good qualities, will train our mind to see God in everything. Dhanyavad.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Maharshaya Sapta Purve Chatvaro Manavastatha Madbhava Manasa Jata Yesham Loka Imah Prajaha. Next slide, please. Maharshaya, Maharshis, Sapta, 7. Purve, in previous. Chatvaraha, 4. Manavaha, many Manus. That is, in this context, they are referring to the 14 Manus. Tatha, then. Madbhavaha, my bhavas. Manasa, from my mind. Jataha, born. Yesham, from them. Loke, in this world. Imaha, this entire. Prajaha, the prajas. Next slide, please. The Anvaya goes like this. Sapta Maharshayaha Chatvaraha Purve Tatha Manavaha Madbhavaha Manasa Jataha Esham Loke Imaha Prajaha Bhavanti. Next slide, please. In the earlier verse, Antasrishti is being talked about. In this verse, external creation is analyzed. First, the Lord created the Saptarishis. While describing the marks of the 7 saints, the scripture says, the reference is from Vayu Purana, Etan bhavanadhiyana ye chaitarushayo mataha saptaite saptabhischaiva gunai saptarshayasmrataha dirghayusho mantrakrita Ishvara divya chakshushaha vriddhah pratyaksha dharmano gotra pravartakaschaye. Next slide, please. The Saptarishis have 7 different gunas. That is, Dirghayushaha, long life. Mantrakrit, they are able to develop mantras. Ishvara, that is, they are divine. Divya chakshushaha, they have transcendent vision. Vriddhaha, seniority in what? In their merits. Pratyaksha dharmanaha, direct perception of the divine law. Gotra pravartakaha, they are the founders of the particular lines. Next slide, please. These 7 rishis change in every manvantara. They have been mentioned in the Shanti Parva of Mahabharata. The names of the Saptarishis have been mentioned. It goes like Marichir Angiraschatrih Pulastyah Pulaha Kratuhu Vasishtha iti saptaite Manasa nirmitahite Yete Vedavido Mukhya Vedacharyascha Kalpitaha Pravritti Dharminaschaiva Prajapatye cha kalpitaha. Next slide, please. So the names of the Saptarishis, Marichi, Angira, Atri, Pulastya, Pulaha, Kratu, and Vasishta. Next slide, please. So these Saptarishis have some duties that they have to perform and some qualities. They are Veda Viduhu. Lord says that these rishis are proficient in Veda. Mukhya Vedacharya. They are the main acharyas who are responsible for propagation of Veda. Pravritti Dharminaha. Responsible for pravritti. What is pravritti? Continuation of life. Saptarishis, now that we're talking about, belong to the Swayambhu Manvantara. Next slide, please. Even before the Saptarishis, there were 4 rishis who came earlier and who were produced by Lord Brahma. They are called Sanakadi Munis. They are Sanakaha, Sanandanaha, Sanat Kumaraha, Sanat Sujataha. Brahmaji created the 4 rishis in the hope that they will get married to continue the tradition. Next slide, please. But they did not take this path. So Brahmaji got angry, and from Brahmaji's eyebrows, out of anger, Ekadasha Rudras came. That is why they are called Rudras. Since these people took Nivritti Marga, Brahmaji had to create another 7 for Pravritti Marga. Then, why are they saying in this verse that these are the pioneers of every praja? We say that Saptarishis are responsible, Chatvaraha Munayaha, that is, these Sanakadi Munis are responsible, but they took Nivritti Marga. So why are they responsible for the praja is a question that comes in all of us. It is because the Sanakadi brothers, being the pioneers of the path of renunciation, are the teachers of the whole universe. Hence, all those who follow the path shown by them are in a way their disciples and may therefore be taken to be their progeny. Next, 14 Manus came into being who preside over a particular age era called Manvantara. A Chatur Yugi, that is Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, Kali Yuga, consists of 43,20,000 human years or 12,000 celestial years. These many years become one Mahayuga, and 71 Mahayuga equals to 1 Manvantara. While taking Sankalpa, while we are doing the Sankalpa, the names of the Manus are chanted. Next slide, please. Each Manvantara has its own saint, gods, Indra, and also the sons of Manu changed according to Manvantaras. We are now in the 7th Manvantara, presided by Vaivasvata Manu, which is supposed to be the 28th Chatur Yuga. So, 43 more to go. Next slide, please. Madbhavaha Manasa Jataha, born out of me, containing my bhavas. Just like the spark that has the same nature of the original fire, we all have the same nature of the Lord. Isn't it wonderful to know that we contain the bhava of the Lord himself? Bhava also give another meaning, that is bhakti. Imah prajaha. In the Bhashyam, it says praja includes the sthavara, jangama, and outbidha beings. What does this mean? Lord not only created us, but also the sthavara beings, that is the plant. Jangama, that is us. And outbidha, that which is born out of earth, could be minerals, rocks, or mountains. Next slide, please. I would like to conclude by quoting Swami Vivekananda's statements. He says, one word of truth can never be lost. For ages, it may be hidden under rubbish, but it will show itself sooner or later. Truth is indestructible. Purity is indestructible. Dhanyavadaha. Harihi Om.
Namaste, Hari Om, Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. The 10th chapter belongs to the Madhyama Shatakam, which discusses about the Ishvara Swarupam. This chapter is called Vibhuti Yoga, and Lord Krishna defined God as Jagat Karanam. Jagat Karanam means the cause of the universe. God consists of two aspects, Para Prakriti, higher nature, Apara Prakriti, lower nature. Basic matter principle plus the conscious principle put together is God. So the three stages of understanding God, the first level is God creates the world. Second level, God becomes the world. And the third level, God appears as the world. So the verse proper goes as Etam vibhutim yogam cha mamayo veti tattvataha sovikambena yogena yujyate natra samshayah. Meaning, he who really knows his glory and power of mind is blessed with unshaken knowledge. There is no doubt in this. In the previous verse, it was pointed out that the Lord, being the cause of the universe, Lord has a potentiality to manifest as pots, trees, etc. Just as the seed has a potentiality to manifest as a tree, similarly, Lord has a potential which is called Shakti to evolve as the universe. This power of manifestation, this Shakti is called Yoga or Maya Shakti. Thus, Lord has got Maya. So what is the definition of Maya? The potential power is Maya, and any potential is always in dormant form. It is invisible, just as the butter, which is potentially there is in the milk in which it is there. But you cannot see the butter in the milk. You'll have to extract and bring it out. Therefore, any Shakti is invisible. It is inferable, Anumeyam. And this is called Ishvara Yoga. And later, when the potential comes to manifestation, the manifest form is always Pratyaksham, means visible. When the seed has a potential you do not see, when it becomes a tree, that yoga has become what? Visible. And the visible version is called Vibhuti. The unmanifest power is called yoga. Suppose a bhakta, a scriptural student, recognizes this glory. For him, what is the advantage? Bhagavan is no more sitting in Vaikuntha. He need not travel to have Ishvara Darshanam. For him, where is God? If you ask, he will ask a counter question. Tell me where God is not there. An atheist wrote a statement, God is nowhere. A bhakta came and put a comma after now. So instead of nowhere, it has now become, when you add it, W to the word no, it will become now here. And this darshanam is Virata Ishvara Darshanam, Vishwarupa Ishvara Darshanam, Aneka Rupa Ishvara Darshanam. He'll be taken to the next level of Ishvara Darshanam because this is the middle level. What is the next level? God does not transform himself to become the universe. God only appears to have all these forms. But the original God does not have any one of these forms. From Aneka Rupa Ishvara, he'll go to what level? Arupa Ishvara. So yoga means Arupa Ishvara Jnanam. He'll go to Nirguna Ishvara Jnanam. And not only he'll get Arupa Ishvara Jnanam, it will be a strong conviction. Formless God is the real God. And that real formless God assumes either one form or many forms, depending on the devotee's prayer, in whichever form he wants to have darshanam. Bhagavan assumes that form. So, though Arupa Ishvara is the real Rupa, it does not mean he will reject Eka Rupa or Aneka Rupa Ishvara. He has got all the three versions. I can talk to you as a person, I can admire you as a nature or creation, and I can close my eyes and enjoy you as Aham Brahmasmi. All the three he will come to know. So, in conclusion, the person who has reached the highest level knows that he is Satchit Ananda. He is an embodiment of permanent peace, security, happiness. That Atma Tattva enlivens the body and experiences the world, and hence no adversities can affect him. So to reach the highest level from Eka Rupa, the The intermediate level is Aneka Rupa or Vishwarupa, which is a stepping stone to the Arupa. So let us experience the godliness in all the 5 elements. The bhumi on which I am, water I drink, air I breathe, warmth of the fire, the vast space around me. Let us develop reverence to all these, and one day I'll move to the level 3. Thank you. Namaste.
Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Verse 8. Aham sarvasya prabhavaha mattaha sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvitaha. This verse describes the Aneka Rupa Ishvara Bhakta, also called Vishwarupa Ishvara Bhakta or Virat Bhakta. The virtues of this Bhakta are, first, his perspective is that the entire creation is a manifestation of the Lord. Therefore, there is a reduction of raga dvesha, and he sees every experience as originating from the Lord. This Virat Bhakta will soon transform into an Advaita Jnani. Krishna blesses him with Jnanam, Dadhami Buddhi Yogam Tam. The Virat Bhakta in this verse is described as Buddhaha Bhava Samanvita Vishwarupa Bhaktaha. Why Buddhaha? Buddha means an informed Bhakta, not an Advaita Jnani. He has Tat Padartha Paruksha Jnanam. He knows Brahma Satya Jagat Mityam, but he does not know Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha. He does not have Aikya Jnanam. Although he has a deep awareness that Ishvara is the source of everything, we see in the words of Krishna, Aham Sarvasya Prabhavaha. For this Virat Bhakta, the Lord is the source of all experiences, be it birth, death, success, failure, pleasure, pain, whatever. Sarvam mattaha pravartate. Everything proceeds from me. The Virat Bhakta regards everything as Ishvara Prasada, and this is the hallmark of a karma yogi. What does the word aham refer to? Aham refers to Param Brahma Vasudevakyam. Vasuhu means Satrupa. Vasanti asmin sarvani bhutani iti Vasuhu. And Deva means Chitrupa. Divyati swayam prakashate iti Devaha. Therefore, Vasudeva means Sat Chit Rupa Paramatma. Therefore, Sarvasya here means Jagataha Prabhavaha Utpattihi. Sarvasya Prabhavaha Mattaha Sarvam Pravartante means Ishvara is the Samanya Karanam of everything. That is, in the presence of Ishvara, everything just happens. Mattaha Pravartate. Therefore, every experience is Ishvara's prasada. Iti matva mam bhajante. Matva means keeping in mind always. This prasada buddhi with this prasada buddhi, the Virat Bhakta worships the Lord. And these bhaktas are Buddha, remember, they're learned bhaktas, they're informed bhaktas with the knowledge that Lord is the nimitta upada karana of creation, and therefore they are bhava samanvitas. As a consequence of prasada buddhi, the Virat Bhakta is soaked in devotion, always relaxed. Jagata Ishadi Yukta Sevanam Ashtamurti Bridha Deva Pujanam. As Ramana Maharshi says in the Upadesha Sara, serving the world with the understanding that it is nothing but the Lord. Worship of the Lord as Ashtamurti. Ashtamurti means Vishwarupa Ishvara, meaning the 5 elements, the sun, moon, and Jiva, he says, is equivalent to Deva Pujanam, worship of the Ishta Deva as Eka Rupa Ishvara. And the last word, Bhava Samanvita. Here, Bhava means Bhavana. Bhavana means Paramartha Tattva Abhinivesha. Abhinivesha means a deep desire. Desire for what? Paramartha Tattvam. A deep desire for Aikya Jnanam. A desire for Aparoksha Jnanam. What is it? Jivo Brahmaiva Napara, with which he will transform into an Advaita Jnani. Thank you.
Thank you to all the speakers of the day. Our pranams to our gurus and Guru Parampara. Thank you to all our listeners. Next session will be on Mandukya Karikas on the 8th of November, session 25. This will be the concluding session for the third chapter of Mandukya Karikas. Let us conclude with the prayers. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om